I love that hat, dude. That hat's proper.
To all the fans watching it, wish them a Merry Christmas, and also why should they watch the fight?
You should watch this fight because this is what boxing's all about. This is about putting your O on the line. This is about putting what you believe on the line. You think you can win? Step up in the big fights and let's see it. You can talk the talk, but when the lights come on and you walk out the O2 Arena into a little ring 20 foot by 20 foot to fight another man, this is the pureness of the sport. Why boxing is the greatest sport in the world bar none. Let's build the hype, let's watch the excitement, and let's see the purity of British boxing explode and unfold February the 3rd, O2 Arena.
Thanks very much, Eddie.
We are live. EJ Boxing live here.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
To this date. EJ Boxing live here with expert, one of the top trainers in the country, Xavier Miller. Glad to have him here over in his fight camp over in Portugal. And you know, for you fight fans, you know, who don't see me on the camera much, here I am. Xavier, hey, thanks for coming over, bro.
EJ, you know already, we're long-time friends, so it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.
So, hey, right, what you been doing over there? Tell us what's been happening in over in Portugal, obviously with Dillian. Give us all the gossip. Tell us what's been going on with yourself.
I've been here since March this year. It's just been a very, very long camp, eventful. You know, a lot of things have happened, and it's been a great experience. It's different. Haven't really quite experienced anything like this before. Not really been away from home for this period. But yeah, you know, this is worked hard to get here, so of course, loving it.
Yeah, 100%. You work hard to get there, man. Obviously, through the amateurs, bringing champions through, bringing all of your fighters through the amateurs. Some are not like majority of them turning pro, and now obviously you're with Dillian. So let me get asked this because for the people probably know, yeah. What would you say got you into boxing?
I think it was my uncle. My uncle Derek's the one that actually got me into boxing because there was a lot of fighters, especially from like Detroit, you know, Philly. You know, he liked a lot of those slick, skillful kind of fighters, and he's the one who said to me, Zav, you need to watch this guy. Zav, watch that guy, and he's the one that got me into it from the age of about 11. I was obsessed with the boxing. You know, going to school. I was like one of the only people actually there talking about boxing. And a lot of the fights I couldn't get most of the fights, to be honest with you, because they didn't broadcast them over here too much, the fights that I wanted to see. So I'd made a contact with someone in the States, and they were selling DVDs, videotapes back then. They were selling videotapes. I think it was £12 for a 3-hour tape, and it was 15 for a 4-hour tape. So I used to do a paper round every Thursday, which only paid about £7 or £8 a week. And then I used to work at a car garage on a Saturday morning just to help out with the mechanics in there. And they used to pay me, I think it was about £10. I was there for about 2-3 hours. But, you know, I learned, you know, the value of hard work because I wanted to buy these VHS tapes and I wanted to watch this boxing. So I used to save my money, you know, order them, had to pay the postage and packaging as well. And, you know, I was just so eager. I used to run home from school sometimes to see if the VHS tape was there. And if it was there, I'd be watching it all evening. My dad used to go to work very, very early. and he used to wake up and see me watching the same fight he'd see me watching the night before, just before he left to go to work. So he thought I was mad, but that's where the education came from. So that's really where it all started.
Well, because listen, it's a long history of, obviously it's a long journey to get to where you are, and then obviously the starting up your amateur club. Yeah, what gave you the inspiration to start up your amateur boxing club? Because people, especially people into professional boxing, don't understand how important the amateur boxing is. That's basically where you get you're learning, and you learn all your mistakes with your fighters, and you work out kind of things what you want to work your fight. So how did you get the concept of starting your amateur gym with your partner Nick Prempeh?
Exactly. I mean, when I started with these VHS tapes, I think it was 1984. So that's how far we're going back. And then I did start boxing at the age of about 14. And then later years I went to work at a school, work in education, and that's where I met Nick. I think that was it's hard to. I think I met Nick in maybe 2008, and we decided to start IQ Boxing. And we started our own gym in 2012. Run the amateurs for about 5 years, and then 2016 turned pro. So the fighters that we built along the journey, a lot of them turned over pro the same time we did. So we've all been on this journey together, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, 100%, man. And the journey's still going on. Super Yusuf Kamari, one of the most talented fighters to come out of the country. People don't know who he is yet. They're gonna find out very soon. You can't hear me? I think it's the headphones, I think if you take them off, you
can't hear you.
Yeah, I think it's the headphones, I think there's a delay. Headphones. Yeah, the headphones. Take the headphones off. Hello. Getting connection problems there. You know how it is, fight fans. Get connection problems. He'll be back in a sec. Slight delay in the connection. It was working fine. We was having a conversation off air. Oh, there he is. He's back. Let me bring him back. He's coming back, peoples. I think it's the headphones, man. Yeah, imagine that. Start live and then all the connection problems start rolling in. Everything's all laid out. Sunday connections. Your guest needs to connect. Yeah, he's got Wi-Fi problems, man. Imagine that. I was talking fine for a minute. Just waiting for him to come back and play some music. He's disappeared. He'll be back in a bit. In the meantime, let's play some music.
Don't waste your breath on the traitor. Let's finish him off.
Just you have a try. You aren't any match for me, you dog.
Son of a bitch.
Are you back?
Yeah, man.
Hello? You back?
All good.
You sure? You sure it's them headphones? I don't know if it's the headphones. You sounded better without the headphones, because it sounded like there was a delay.
Hold on a minute. Let me see. I'll take them off.
Yeah, you sounded better without the headphones. Yeah, you go. You hear me better now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm good. I can hear you good.
Yeah, because it seemed like there was a delay. All right, we're back. All right. So where now? We was talking about the amateurs. Yeah. So you and Nick Prempeh, you said how you started. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that we started we established the amateur club like 2012, 2013. We built up a lot of good fighters. We all turned pro around the same time, about 2016, and we just gone from strength to strength. It's been an amazing journey. We've worked really hard. Starting up your own gym is always a real challenge, but we wanted to do it. We both worked in other amateur clubs before, and I always felt that I should be running my own gym. I shouldn't really be working in anyone else's gym. So, but I did that, until I had the opportunity to open my own. So yeah, it's been a really good journey. And the plan wasn't to have an amateur boxing gym, but to be honest with you, looking back on it now, it was the right decision.
Yeah, I think I think any journey for any top trainer, I think they need to go through. That's just my opinion. To go through that, like Manuel Stewart, who I look up to, and people like Mike Stanford, who brought Adrian Broner through. And I still talk to him now. They still have the amateur going, and I was Javon Hill and Jonathan Banks. They always said that going through the amateur circuit has helped them to get where they are now, and they always refer to the amateurs. I think some people in the professional game, they don't understand why people keep talking about the amateurs, but the amateurs is the proven ground to. If you can do pretty well in the amateurs, you can kind of gauge how you're going to be successful as a pro, right?
Well, to be honest with you, some people are just plain ignorant because you want to praise fighters for having a long amateur career, like Lemachenko and so on and so forth. You know, a lot of them, the Hall of Fame fighters did have an extensive amateur career.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not the be all and end all, but the majority, you know, do go on to do great things. So when a coach decides to go along an amateur journey and then turn pro, you want to turn your nose up at it. That doesn't make sense. You know, the boxers went through their foundation. You know, if the coach has got the opportunity, they should go through that foundation, because there's things that I did in the amateurs that, you know, I was never ever going to do. You know, I got a chance to judge some fights as well, which is, you know, you get a different outlook, different perspective. So, you know, all these things, they count because, you know, it's good grounding, you know. And yes, at times it was very frustrating dealing with the amateurs because we were up against established amateur clubs that have been around for decades. You know, the likes of Finchley, likes of Repton, Islington. You're going up against these kind of gyms, you know, who've had champions along champions, but you know, we just crashed on the scene and said, you know what, we know how we want our boxers to fight. We were building professional boxers. We were going to build professional boxers, even if we didn't have an amateur gym. The whole point was to build professional boxers. The fact we managed to bridge that gap with an amateur boxing gym is fantastic. It's great. It's grateful for it.
Let's talk about your merchandise. I don't think people really get into that. They kind of get at the end of the video, but I'm gonna start before we get into that. So let's talk about the IQ branding. IQ needs the Boxing Academy. Talk about the branding and obviously talk about the slogan of why you picked IQ.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny enough. Before I actually met Nick, I was actually running like an after school, like boxing and sports kind of program, and it was called IQ. Funny enough. It's just that when I met Nick, I said, well, let's just call it IQ Boxing because that's the destination now. But yeah, that's the whole idea of the brand, you know. And then, you know, the fighters that we were building, I kind of modeled them off fighters that I grew up watching. So they all had like their own identity, but their foundation came from, you know, one of those great fighters. So, and I was very selective with the kind of fighters that I gave my time to, because there's certain things that you had to show me. And dedication was the most important, and the ability to learn. That was the guys that have gone on to do really well, is because back then they understood the ethos of where exactly we were trying to go, and you know, and now they you know, obviously they're leading the line at the gym.
Yeah, 100%. So the merchandise though, where can people purchase your merchandise? Because people, let me say something. IQ merchandise is the most unique merchandise you've ever seen. If there's any like great picture you've ever seen, yeah, and like to pull it on the merchandise, hoodies, t-shirts, anything, where can they come and purchase your merchandise?
Yeah, you just go on to Insta, and it's IQ Sportswear, IQ Boxing Sportswear, and you can just send a DM. Luckily enough, this year I managed to get a good link with a distributor, and it's KMT Apparel. They're going to ship out all our stuff from now, because obviously I'm having to deal with too much to try and deal with a clothing brand. So they said they'll do that for me. Obviously, they're going to take their percentage out of that, but obviously I won't have to deal with any of it anymore. You know, I just got to pick the stuff that I want printed and, you know, the kind of designs, and then they're gonna forward that. And that's Kevin from KMT. So big shout out to him. I mean, he's always been a massive supporter. I mean, not just with the clothing. You know, even when most of my fighters were signed with Steve Goodwin, and you had to sell tickets, Kevin was one of the main people who'd say to me, right, whoever's boxing, I'll pay for their strength and conditioning, or I'll pay for their fight kit, or, you know, I'll help them with ticket sales. You know, great people like this along your journey have to give praise to them, as well as Tiger Bay. They did exactly the same thing. You know, whoever had a title fight or whoever was struggling with tickets, these sponsors would come along and help out. As well as Bravos, same thing, my Boxing Glove company. They all chipped in and helped out with the journey. So I'm really grateful to them.
100%. That's all the sponsors getting through. So let's talk about the fighting style you mentioned earlier on about the fighting styles. What fighting styles do you like? Which kind of fighters do you like? I mean, I know already, but for the people listening, tell which kind of fighters that you kind of like have in your mind, like you like your fighters to be like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about in the US, I like Evander Holyfield was my favorite. James Toney and Thomas Hearns. I would say those are my three favorites, and I've modeled a couple of my fighters off those fighters. I'm just in terms of them sitting down and studying and watching, and I'm talking like almost from scratch. So it's really hard to tell a fighter how to do this and do that unless you give them some sort of a platform to start from. So that's what I did really. And the guys that I really like over here, Ian Dapper Napper. I love the way he fight. I like his style a lot. I liked Richard Williams. I talked to both of them now. The secret. I mean, every time I've got a fighter going out, they always message me and give me advice, and it's either they'll call or they'll send me a text and say, Zav, make sure you look at this, or good luck with whatever you're doing here or there. And they've always, those two in particular, Jose. Another one.
Josie Alushigan. Everyone listening, Josie Alushigan, he fought against Lucas Matisse, against Hank Lundy, and obviously, what's the other fight you mentioned just before that one? Oh yeah, Richard Secret Williams. He fought Sergio Martinez. So these are the guys that, and they talking about Ian the Dapper Napper, British and Commonwealth champion, and listen at flyweight. Listen, if you could check him out on YouTube, must watch Ian Dapper Napper. Beautiful flyweight, you know what I mean? Beautiful styles. You got that Philly shell rolling and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Very, very slick, man. Very calculated. Work well to the head and body. And same with Richard Williams. These guys. I used to sit down and watch them, just study them. It wasn't just about the American fighters. I like the way these guys fought as well. Richard had a very good high guard, a bit like Michael Watson.
Yeah.
Worked up and down well. Napper was just slick. He just looked like. He just like a mini version of the guys that I'm talking about now, a little Detroit style, really skillful, could work really well in the pocket, and he was always a lot smaller than the guys he boxed, but he still found a way to function. So, these kind of guys, honestly, they paved the way really for me to be exactly where I am, because they're the guys that I was sitting down and watching and studying for hours.
100% was Arturo. Well, I know me. I kind of like two fighters that you kind of made me convinced, at the time, Riddick Bowe and Arturo Gatti. Now, for me, when you were telling me that, I didn't really pay too much mind, but I get it now. Arturo Gatti is an all-action, exciting fighter. It wasn't really, his defense was okay, but it's all action. And then Riddick Bowe, if everyone look at Riddick Bowe, for a big guy, that guy had all the punches. He was a pressure fighter. He only ever lost once to Evander Holyfield. And even though he didn't fight Lennox Lewis, that's what most people remember him. He was a great fighter. Tell me about why them, especially them two of the guys that you kind of like your guys to be like, especially Riddick Bowe. You know what I mean?
Bowe was. I spent hours and hours watching Bowe. Again, his teachers like Eddie Futch. I mean, this guy was special. To me, he's one of the most complete heavyweights of all time. Not the most disciplined, but he's one of the most complete. I know there's a lot of debate about, who would have won out of him and Lennox. I'm sorry, I've got to go with Bowe. And the reason why I say that is because, to me, Bowe could fight inside and outside. He was a very good boxer on the outside, but that was the reason why he dominated Evander Holyfield in that first fight, was because, Holyfield was always good at coming in like he did with Michael Dokes, working well to the head and body. But Bowe was matching him there, actually getting the better inside and then beating him on the outside as well. So Holyfield had a really hard night. I mean, as always, Holyfield gives you everything. Fought hard until the end. The 10th round was probably one of the greatest rounds ever in history, especially heavyweight history. But it was just Bowe was just, he was just so slick, and his counter punching and his ability to cover up. Sometimes he can catch and shoot with one hand. He was like a throwback, to like the 50s and 60s kind of fighters. He was brilliant. It's a shame he wasn't as disciplined as like the likes of like Lennox and Holyfield, but it's not to take away how gifted he was. And Arturo, a lot of people they only really watched the Mickey Ward fight, but
You know, when you're fighting like Tracy Harris Patterson and guys like that, Arturo could box. You know, he's a good boxer, good power, and obviously he became Mr. Entertainment a bit later on in his career. You know, took a bit too much, but you know, Buddy McGurk, you know, brought him back, another great trainer. But yeah, he was. You knew you were always going to get a good fight with Arturo. Always going to get a special fight. He was this amazing, incredible boxer. I mean, one time I think he was having a fight with a guy called Rodriguez. Both of his eyes were basically cut. They were almost, you know, closed, just basically slits. And he came back and stopped the guy in about 6-7 rounds. So, but Arturo was always in fights like that. Great fighter.
100%, man. We got people in the chat, yo. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Lady Shan done them season. Shout out to Michael Thompson. Shout out to October Rev, man. Good to have you over, October Rev. Lady Shan has a question for you. All right, before I actually get in the question. How important is no sex rule before a fight? How long before a fight, if at all?
I personally don't think it makes any difference at all. I think it's all mental. You know, it's all mental. I don't think that has any bearing whatsoever. You know, there's a lot of myths and, you know, talks about what you should and shouldn't do before fights, and a lot of guys say that you shouldn't get a massage before a fight. A lot of guys say they prefer it. It's just, you know, horses for courses. It's just depend on the individual. But yeah, I think it's all mental.
All mental. There you go. There's your question. That's your answer, Lady Sham. All right.
Yeah,
so
big up Shad, man. She's working, man. She's busy out here.
Otobia Red as well. I'm sure at some point, because she has her channel as well. Xavier Miller will pass through and give you your details and jump on your channel as well. And Lady Sham and October Rev. People still looking for the ladies' night. You know what I mean? All ladies chat, debate on your channel. So we look forward to that. But let's get into it now. Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte. Yeah. So Xavier, you land one of the top contenders in the world.
Yeah, no doubt.
How did that go about? What tell us the journey of how that happened. We obviously covered your amateur. We obviously covered who obviously fighters you like. So just tell us how the journey and how you came into Dillian Whyte's company. Yeah,
I mean, because I've been on the circuit for a long time now, you know, at one point we had fighters going out like every 2-3 weeks. It was almost like the amateurs. I had so many pros. We were so busy on Goodwin shows that just like, you know, you just basically meet people, how people meet people. And, you know, I met Dean a couple of times, a couple of shows. And, you know, Dean came down to my gym a couple of times. And then one time he came down with Dillian and we just started doing a little bit of work. And, yeah, Dillian just called me out of the blue and said, listen, I need you on the plane when we're going to Saudi. And that was the first time I was actually in the corner with Dillian. And, you know, it's been an amazing journey ever since. You know, he's a really, really good guy. You know, he looks after his people. You know, he's eager to learn. You know, he loves boxing. And he's one of those guys that wants to fight everybody. You know, you can't really ask much more from a boxer. You know, great guy.
100%. We kind of skipped over him slightly. Obviously, Mark Tibbs was his previous trainer, and obviously he was there. Obviously, we're dealing with right now. We're in tier 4, and we ain't happy about it right now. London's locked down tier 4. Dillian himself very successful. Mark is successful, and obviously you're there as well. At some point, you know, because both guys are successful, they couldn't meet. They couldn't. Obviously, I don't really ins out. They couldn't wear eye out. But obviously, you're there helping out. So when did you get the call to say, yo, Zab, you're my man? You know, what's happened with Mark is what happened with Mark. When did you get that call? And you know that there. Now, how did you feel as well? Because you got to understand, yeah, guys know, yeah, Zab is bringing his fighters up through the amateur scene, right? So he's bringing his fighters up in the scene, and now he helped training a top contender. The next year, you've been thrust into the limelight, right? Thrust in the limelight, and you like most people say, okay, maybe it's just too much for me. But when in your mind say, okay, I'll take it. When was your mind in that? But we, you know, the pedigree, by the way, obviously with Don Charles, you was there with Don Charles, with Derek Chisora. So it's not like you was just there. You've been around the scene. But how did you feel when that call, when the call came down to you, or Dillian approached you and said, Dab, I trust you. I want you to be the man to take me forward into my next thing. How did you feel about that? And you know, when Dillian asked you, tell us about that.
It's hard to answer that one. I mean, I
don't think no one's really asked you that one in that way, because you can put it.
Yeah, it's true. They haven't. I mean, because I've been around for so long, and like you said earlier, I've been involved in big fights before. It wasn't the first time that I'd actually been involved with Dillian, because obviously we went out to Saudi, and we continued training when we got back. So I was around Dillian and Mark. So to be honest, when they both fell out, it was just almost like a natural transition. I don't even know if there was really a conversation between me and Dillian. It's like we both just knew. We'd been training out here for a long period, this year, and we clicked from the very beginning anyway. So Dillian, he trusts and understands. He knows I've done the education. He knows I've been around. He knows I know my stuff, and it just sometimes as a boxer and a trainer sometimes it just fits. And I've got the same relationship with Dillian as I do with my other professional boxers, like the likes of Kay Prosper, Yusuf Kamari, Dennis Wahome, Adrian Redmond, Yasser Alguina, Julio, all these guys. I mean, to me, a fighter is a fighter. I've got love for all of them, and that's why I sacrifice everything. That's why I've been out here for so long. Yeah, I want to do best for my boxers.
100%. So Dillian now, again, when I look at Dillian, look at Dillian and look at it before now. We're building us, and I'm taking us slowly now. They're like Rafi, slow roast. We're going slowly now. So slowly Sunday, so I'm going slowly now. You get the call obviously now. So now, okay, we go past the Marius Walk fight, and now we enter into the Povetkin fight. But actually, let's talk a bit more specifically. The training style. Let me tell you something. Dillian is, before you came on board, this is what I've seen, and I've only seen the one fight with the Povetkin, but what I've seen, all action fighter, take one to land his two. That's what it seemed like to me, and he's all action fighter. In the Povetkin fight, it seems to me from the boxing style of the year that Dillian was more conscious on the defense, and the offense was there. His connection rate was much far, landing much more, and he didn't really miss that much. He was deliberately throwing punches, specifically in certain areas, and he was slowly breaking Povetkin down. What was you, again, going back to the model of the fighters, which fighter are you modeling Dillian on? That's what, I don't know, no one's asked you that, because
Good question.
Go ahead.
Good question. When you take on a guy of Dillian's experience, he's beaten good guys. He's been successful. To be honest with you, he don't change much at all. He's so good at what he does. I just want to make him even better at what he's doing. So, we basically train every day. A lot of it is technical work. And I just want him to be a more complete, well-rounded fighter. And obviously not to take as much punishment. But, he's an offensive counter-puncher. With a good jab. To be honest with you, Dillian's got everything. Once he put it all together, he's already a dangerous fighter. He's going to be even more of a problem. And I always say that when you do meet a boxer, it does take time for the relationship to gel, to work. Even though we get on really well, the more time you spend with someone, obviously the easier things are. And we've just got closer and closer. He's just getting better and better at what he's doing. He was doing really, really, really well in the fight, but it's a results business. We didn't get the result, and the rematch is coming soon, and everyone will see the difference.
Well, like I said to you, the styles that you've played with, it's like his style was very. You could see he's working on stuff with you. His uppercuts, he was throwing uppercuts. I haven't seen him for a lot of uppercuts. Obviously, Dillian's known for his left hook. His jab was coming in the fight. And like I said to you, it was all going your way. And then obviously you go to the corner. You've knocked the man down twice. I mean, in a big fight, I don't know how you feel about that, being in the corner and actually seeing, your charge knocking down the guy twice. You must be thinking in your mind, is this going to be over or whatever? But obviously you want to take time, take time and stuff like that. And all of a sudden Povetkin comes in, and Povetkin comes in. Dillian threw a punch. I think it was a right or a jab. He rolls underneath and throws the uppercut, and the fight's over. What was going through your mind, and how quickly the fight has turned? And then what actually went through your mind?
I mean, in the corner, it was great. This is the second or third time I've worked with Magic. Magic's been with Dillian for a long time. That's Dillian's cut man, and he does his hand wraps. And You know, I'd actually met Dave Colwell that week when we went into the bubble. But, you know, he's obviously been in big fights. He's got a lot of experience. And in the corner, we worked really well together. I mean, we were both saying similar things, you know, reminding to be, you know, defensively minded, you know, not to take too many gambles. Keep doing exactly what you're doing because it's working. You're winning basically every round. You knocked the guy down twice. He hasn't got much more left in him. And then, you know, Povetkin found something. And you know, because you've known me for a long time, you know I'm the kind of person, I don't like to make excuses. I'd rather give credit to Povetkin for finding something because he was in serious trouble. And I'd rather leave it at that and just focus on the next fight.
100%. So there's quite a few questions in there. What's it saying? October Red. She was saying to you, are you going to bring another coach into the equation? You did bring Dave Caldwell in. So going forward, is Dave Caldwell going to be a part, or are you going to bring another coach in, or are you quite happy with Magic? They got the Magic man over there. So you got Magic. I see Magic doing his thing. Obviously, you have a lot of fun over there. Obviously, you bring Bremer. And people don't know what Bremer, obviously heavyweight prospect over there, and you got other guys over there, John Harden Jr. Are you going to bring anyone into the camp to assist you in your task with Dillian?
I mean, the main reason for bringing Dave in was because, you know, the guy that I'm normally in the corner with, which is Nick, he wasn't able to come out, you know, because he was working, so he wasn't available for that fight, unfortunately, and he couldn't take the whole week off in the bubble, you know, because obviously he's still working, so. That's why we had to bring somebody else in. But I'm used to working with at least another boxing coach in the corner. Yes, we've got a cut man, but I like to have another boxing coach in the corner just to, you know, they might see something a bit different. And I like to bounce off ideas in between the rounds, you know, during the round, with the other coach. So I was quite happy working with Dave, actually. I thought he did a good job. You know, obviously, I'm the head coach, and it's just good to say, you know, right, while we're watching the fight, a coach might say to me, Zav, did you see that? You know, we need to be careful of this, or maybe try this. I'm like a team player. I like to work in the corner with experienced people. You know, I really like my time with Don, who's got a lot of experience, and even my fights. You know, when Yusuf Kamari had his title fight, I had Don helping me in the corner with Yusuf. You know, with Kate Prosper. You know, John Cole was with me in the corner, and Kay's known him for a long time. Another experienced boxing coach. It's just about having a second pair of eyes. That's all it is. Haven't really decided if I'm going to have. Well, there'll be somebody, but who it is, I haven't made up my mind yet. Or, you know, it's not really a discussion at this point. The most important thing is we've got the main team is, you know, obviously me and Magic, and we'll see where we go from there.
100%. All right, let's get to the question, man. Everyone's dying to ask you, bro. Now, whether you answer it is another thing, but I'll have to ask you. Yeah, Dillian. Obviously after the fight, Povetkin tests positive for corona. Whether he tests positive or not, we don't know if that's true or not. But we obviously by fact he said. All right, so Dillian's looking at this. I need to keep active. Even though I was number one contender, still number one contender. Povetkin ain't going nowhere. I need someone else. Well, Luis Ortiz has reached out, and said that he's willing to. In fact, he accept the offer. Now, I don't know what information you heard, but for the fight fans, me personally, that is a great fight for the fight fans. Do you think that's a possible? And furthermore, is there news coming soon about Dillian's next date with the next opponent, if it's not Povetkin?
Yeah, I mean, the date will be announced this week anyway. So obviously, I've got to be professional and just wait for that. But honestly, I'm definitely interested in that fight. I'd like him to fight those guys next year. I like Luis Ortiz. I like Andy Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz is good. They don't like each other still, ain't it?
Yeah, I like that's a good style matchup. You know, obviously we got Povetkin business to deal with. So obviously that's our main focus, but we'll see exactly what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in all them fights, man. If anybody hasn't got the memo by now, you know Dillian Whyte wants to fight everybody. That's not even up for discussion. You know what this guy's like. He just wants smoke, and that's what he's like in the gym. You know, he's just constantly just eager, just wants to fight. He doesn't want to wait around for nobody. He just wants to fight.
100%. So talking about fighting, and Dillian wants to fight. So let's go back to a fight. So the question about Luis Ortiz, by the way, the answer will be coming out this week in a press conference, whether it's going to be Povetkin or Ortiz, we're going to find out this week. So talking about Dillian just wants to fight. Well, you and Dillian, well, I don't know. I'm assuming it was you and Dillian. You was watching the Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois fight. Yeah. And Dillian went live, and I heard you giggling in the background. Now, I know that was you,
Who was giggling?
You was giggling because I heard you laugh in the background, bro. Look at your face, bro.
Nah, B, I wasn't
I heard you laugh in the background. Dylan goes, I would never quit. Never. That's me. I would never quit. Never. That's what I'm saying. So, anything Dylan does is viral. But, boy, listen, what was your take on that fight?
And
Dylan's outburst. Go on.
EJ, you know the funniest thing with this guy, honestly?
Yeah.
Whatever you see on camera, this is what the guy's like every day in the gym, man. That is just him. That's just his character, and he don't hide. That is Dillian. That's him.
Just raw.
You know, and he's funny all the time, man. But it's obviously his boxing. He's serious, but he's witty. He's a character. And he just wants to fight. All the politics of boxing. It just frustrates him because he's one of those kind of old school throwback kind of fighters that just like. If I'm in line, I should be getting my shot. I want to fight this person. I don't want any excuses. That is his character. And because you've known me so long, maybe that's one of the reasons why me and him get on so well, because you know me already. I just I like tough. I like real fights. I like real fights. I like real competition. So maybe that's why we click.
So yeah, let's go to Joe Joyce and that. So the Joe Joyce says you're watching a Joe Joyce fight. You're watching it live. What's Dillian's thoughts? What's your thoughts? You're watching it. On the whole thing on Fragile, everyone's talking about should he have quit the orbital bone. What's your take on the whole thing? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, every time there's a big fight, we all just go to the bar. We got a back room there, and we just put the boxing on, and the whole team is sitting there watching. So you're watching the fight, and listen, that was a good fight. It was a good fight. I think it was the right fight for both guys at that point in their career. Dubois, we need to see him in with somebody. He needs to step up, and Joyce needed a name. So I thought it was a really, really good fight. I was really impressed with Joyce's Joe Joyce jab. With Dubois, sometimes he was explosive in spurts, and that's why he was picking up rounds here and there. But yeah, it was a good fight. The only thing I would say about the injury, obviously, listen, your quality of life after boxing is obviously the most important thing. But we're talking about the fight as we see it. I'm used to guys dealing with those injuries and continue and just continue. I like the ref or the corners to stop those fights. It's just very rare to see someone sit out a 10 count. It was quite strange. I thought that he was good. Obviously the shot he got hit with obviously bothered him. He took a knee, which was the right thing to do because you can give yourself time to compose yourself. And then I was expecting him to get up and then say, you know what, I know I haven't got long left. Let me just go for it. A bit like with Gary Mason against Lennox Lewis. He is a little bit like that. He knew the fight was done, but he just said, look, I might catch him. Let me just try. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead. That's the only thing to me that was missing in that fight, because I think the corner were going to pull him out the next round anyway. I think they were, and obviously, I'm surprised the doctor didn't come in the ring like a bit more often during towards the last couple of rounds and have a look and just. EJ, we've been watching boxing a long time. The doctor would normally cover one eye and say, "Can you see out of the eye?"
Yeah.
They'll ask questions. I didn't see that happening throughout that fight when the eye injury started. I didn't see that happening, which I thought was really strange.
The thing is, I think it was in the bubble and the way the doctor was in Corona and them things there. Maybe the doctor's trying to stay away from Corona and a Corona special. So I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that, the why the doctors usually you see that the doctor would come in, but it's just circumstances with the bubble. Technically, coming in checking the corner, but I never saw it. I think you had the person who's just checking to make sure that the gloves and that. But yeah, you're right. It would have normally checked on that.
Listen, that's the reason why we have doctors there. To look after the well-being of the fighter. Mm-hmm. The boxer will always want to continue. It's the guy. It's the corner, the doctor. The ref. These are the guys that protect the fighters. To say whether they're going to continue or not. I would have liked the doctor to do that, because even if the doctor had done that, that would have been an indication to the corner to say, you know what, right, I'm going to give you one more round because now the doctor's looking at you. You know you haven't got much time left. I didn't see that. And I thought that was a bit strange. But as I say, I would like to see him get up and try it. But you know what? Knowing what we know now, maybe he did the right thing because maybe he saved his career. So.
Yeah, when you brought up about Gary Mason. What's up, Rafi? Raphael Dawkins was talking about.
Yes, Raf. Big up, Raf. I love Raf, man.
Hey, October Red, make sure you sub to Raphael Dawkins as well, man. And Lady 100%. Sham as well. Yeah. Make sure you sub to him. Or all you guys sub to Raphael Dawkins. That's my guy, boy. Get me holding it down. So Zab, yeah. You mentioned Gary Mason, yeah. He had the same injury, but after injury that when he fought Lennox Lewis, he was the British champion. He had a detached retina after that fight, and his career ended. You see what I'm saying? So in that situation, Daniel took the knee, but you see in boxing, it's quite harsh. Yeah, I mean, what's he saying? No, the doctor is there in the box. Yeah, testing line. Yeah, he was there, but we were discussing why he didn't come up to the apron, Lady Sham. All right, so what I'm saying is that in the boxing game, it's quite hard when in that situation where it's like, I'll give you an example. I talked to Dr. Fernie Pacheco, right? Dr. Fernie Pacheco said to me, when Sonny Liston was beating everyone and knocking everyone out, yeah, it was okay. But when Ali came along, yeah, and gave him his beating, that guy sat in the corner and didn't want to come out. And they look at it, it's like, bro, that's a shame because it's like they look at it, disgrace. You're all right when you're beating people down, but when it's your time to get the beating, you don't want to come out. Now, Daniel Dubois, how many people was that guy stretched out and send them on a hearse or send them to the Royal Free Hospital? He sent loads of people to hospital, yeah. But when it was his time to get the beating, right? He got his knees and everyone's like, no, I feel bad for him. But when he's licking down, man, it's all good. So this is where the double standards.
You know what? The only way we're going to be able to really gauge is whether he made the right decision is later down the line if he gets into a situation similar like that again. So let's say if he has another great fight, another good fight, and let's say he gets knocked down. Yeah. Is he going to get up and continue? Then you're better to judge his character. Yeah. Right now, it looks like he might have made the right decision because of the damage to his eye. Now, only the boxer knows how he felt. It must have felt like, there's something seriously wrong here. It's okay having a swollen eye, but when something's detached, it's different, isn't it? It's a different kind of feeling. And only he knows that. So we can only really judge him later down the run in his career. I mean, he's very, very young. He's got years in front of him. He might well go on to do great things. And then that situation would have been like, if he hadn't have taken that knee, he wouldn't have had this glorious career that he's had. So we have to wait and see what happens later on down the line. Remember, he's still young. It's not to say that he can't go on and achieve great things because he could. We'll have to wait and see.
So what I know about boxing, just a little bit. I ain't saying I don't know. Just a little bit. Yo, shout out to John Dealey in the chat. So, yo, keep questions coming for Xavier Miller. You know what I mean? We're popping them on. What I know a little bit about boxing is that if your fighter, and this is example, one of your fighters in the corner and his eye's swelling up, right? Wouldn't you tell your fighter to either cover the eye? Because I see you do it, Robbie Chapman, have them covering the eye and using their thing and head movement. Why was that? That wasn't taught in the corner. So a lot of the time we're looking at Daniel Dubois, but the fighter is only as good as the man behind him. Was he getting the right instructions for him to protect the eye in it? I didn't hear that in the corner saying you need to cover the eye because the Nonito Donaire against Guillermo Regendal, he had an orbital bone break, fractured there, right? So rather than quit, he covered that eye and he pursued and carried on. And this is what I'm saying to you. Nothing as well. The head movement. He was basically just getting hit in his face, and I think at some point he was trying, and his style is like a Sonny Liston, is to intimidate you. But you know what I mean? Like if someone, when you're training a fighter, you're iron, you're rock, you're steel, you could walk through doors, and he believes that. So when he was hitting, Jojo's hitting him, he was like, you're not gonna do nothing to me. But your face is telling you something else. So wouldn't you tell him? What do you think about the instructions in the corner? And
actually, throughout the bout, I thought the corner were doing a good job, to be honest with you. Like I said, the only thing that was missing was the doctor. They were, because you have to remember, before he took that knee, he was still competitive. I mean, he was landing the odd spectacular shot here or there. So that's why the scorecards, and that's why it was so close. It looked like Joyce was dominating, but he was really good behind his jab, but he wasn't really doing much else. Daniel was trying to land like a left hook or a right or a straight right hand. So he was competitive up to that point. So obviously the corner had been motivated enough to do what he was doing. So yeah, I don't see a problem with the corner. Like I said, it's just about what's going to happen going forward. I mean, I don't want to judge his character just off of that because he knows how serious the injury was. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, Lady Shab said that the brass corner was rubbish. Yeah. Hey, so all right. So listen, the big fight that's gone through, right? And we've had
the reason why I don't listen. Honestly, I don't like talking negatively about corners because look, these guys they put so much hours and so much time, and no one had anything negative to say about his corner before this fight. They said Daniel was on the way up. Just as soon as something goes wrong, it's it's the corner. Oh, it's this, oh, it's that. You weren't saying that when the guys were doing well, we're knocking people over. You were giving them all the praise then. We shouldn't change nothing because everything's going really well. It's just like when Joshua lost to Ruiz. People were screaming for him to go and get rid of his whole team. He just added on. It's just like these things do happen. These fighters can rebuild with the corner team you've got. Why not rebuild with them? I mean, if it goes wrong again, then obviously that's another conversation. But you were winning together. What, because you lost one fight, you should just all fall apart? No, I'm not really a fan of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, John Dilly, he went. Yeah, he with a broken jaw, but Ali, that where the round got stopped. Yeah, I think he didn't want to get fair. He was getting embarrassed and he was getting beaten down. So I don't know why he went with a broken jaw, and he couldn't do that with Ali. The corners were all right. So Dan, you've mentioned, about the criticisms in the corner. So let's move on to the next fight. Anthony Yard versus Lyndon Arfa. Right? Let's talk about that fight. Obviously, maybe, you sat down with Dillian watching that fight. The criticisms come again, maybe levied on Tunde, maybe the turning point. I think Tunde said that I think that his right arm might be broken. Yeah. And obviously, Yard went in there and, he got caught with that right arm. What's your take? Obviously, we talked to Tunde. I think Tunde is an excellent coach. He's great for boxing, everything. Yeah. All right. Now, talk about that fight and how do you score it? And do you think the criticisms on Tunde and then Yard are warranted?
Well, I thought the fight was very, very slow. Not as much action as I thought there was going to be. And I think that really favoured Arfa because he was able to just pop a very sharp jab, round after round after round. I had Arfa winning the fight by a couple of rounds, by 2 rounds maybe, because there were rounds where Anthony was aggressive, but I always felt like he could do a lot more. I thought if he was a little bit more aggressive, I think he would have been successful because obviously he hurt Arfa in the last round. If he'd got going a little bit quicker, he would have had a lot more success. So I don't know. I just think it's a learning experience. I think he knows now, in them sort of fights, like you might not get a decision. So, and the only guarantee in life is a KO. So I think he'll learn from it and be more aggressive. But look, I can't. Again, Tunde has had a lot of success at the Yard. I mean, look where he's taken him to. Most boxers don't get a chance to fight for a world title. He's also built a very, very good fighter in Junior Saba, and obviously no one ever got to see exactly how far this young man could go. I mean, he was brilliant. So Tunde obviously knows what he's doing. He's in the spotlight because obviously he's got a high-profile boxer, and this is what we have to deal with. You have to deal with this, with the good and the bad. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, I think, listen, they're a good team together. They'll grow together. They've been on this journey together. And like I said, when Anthony Yard was knocking out all those people, he weren't saying those things. He lost to a world-class fighter, and he just lost a very, very close fight. Was it Commonwealth or British level?
Commonwealth, yeah. Yeah,
so, he can come again. He knows if all Yard had to do was just be a little bit more effective for another 2 or 3 more rounds, and he would have got the nod. So he's not way off. It's just a learning lesson, He'll come back and do well.
100%. First and foremost, we want to big up my man, Spencer Knowledge Furin. Happy birthday to Spencer Furin. It's his birthday today, man. So Spencer, man, happy birthday. Man. 47 years of age. So, hey, listen.
He's younger than me. I can't believe it. Believe it.
He's only by about a month or 2, you know what I mean? It's not like...
about a year. A year's a long time. But yeah, man, big up Spencer, man. Like I say, you see with all these guys, this journey, everyone's been involved in boxing so long, and
Nah, actually, I think
we're still here.
Nah, he's the same year as you. I think he's 70. Yeah, he's the same year. I think he may be 48 then. Maybe he's 48 then. Yeah, he's 48. He's 48. Yeah. He's 48.
Okay. Happy birthday, man. Definitely.
Yeah, man. Spencer Knowledge Fearon, happy birthday to you. A shout out to you. So, all right. So we talked about that. Let's talk about because obviously, hopefully Don Charles will come on at some point. I'll do some phone call, but this is good talking to Xavier Miller. The questions are still popping in. They're flying. The questions are flying in. You know what I mean? I'm highlighting them. If I'm not addressing them, don't take it as offense. It's just that I'm just flying through because I'm trying to think of questions my own self. Why we're here.
If you don't catch them, just send them up there again. That's all.
Yeah. No problem. All right. So, Anthony Joshua's performance, of last week. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, one of the great fights of the year. Pulev played his part. The pantomime villain coming in here. The whole Bulgarian setup. I remember when they booed the English football team when England went over there. Even though England beat them, it's the same thing. In Bulgaria, even if you beat me, you don't kill me. You beat me, you don't kill me. You know what I mean? That's their mentality is, right? You beat their football team. It's like, no, they still, call your name. Pulev come over, all cordial. Next you know, in the weigh-in, he turns up. And you haven't experienced this yet. This is the thing, right? I don't know if you experienced that. Obviously, you're going to maybe at some point with Dillian fights Wilder, Dillian fights Ortiz, you're going to get to that sort of melee. You're going to be interested to see how you react to that sort of situation.
I've seen it already, especially with Dillian and Derek, the second fight. That was completely not a match.
Oh, you doing the table when the table was thrown, right?
Nah, in the rematch when the boards came down, all kind of also. I've seen it all already, man.
Oh, you talking about in the studio? You're talking about in the studio?
Yeah. I've seen it.
When man bite the man in his chest and stuff like that was crazy, right?
Yeah, let me get my backup. Sorry, 1 second.
Okay. One thing Yard hasn't learned to deal with the jab. No, he hasn't. What's Lady Sham saying? We all open for criticism being in the public eye. It comes part and parcel. Yeah, mate. It does. 100%. Happy birthday to the knowledge. Yo. John Dealey, what's up, Sham? Everyone get common with Sham and October Red. Make sure you sub to them channels and Raphael Dawkins. And hey, you know what? Big up my man Mike. I need to bring up my man. Where's my guy's Mike? Yeah, his channel as well. He's got a channel. He does his little thing. He ain't come Mike. There you go, Mike Thomas. Yeah, make sure you sub to him as well. He's cool as well. He got some good content on his channel as well. You know what I mean? Get this smoke. Big up, get this smoke, and the rest of the guys. All right. So where was we now? We're talking about the Anthony Joshua fight, one of the greatest fight of the end of the year. What's your take on that fight?
I was impressed with Anthony Joshua, but I wasn't impressed with Pulev. I thought he didn't really have much to offer. He looked really basic. He didn't have a good jab. He didn't really have a good offense either. He was just, all he showed was that he could be tough for a few rounds. It wasn't good competition to me, to be honest with you, but I liked Anthony Joshua's approach. I thought he looked good. He was patient, and he was waiting for the right moment, and he took the guy out clean. So you cannot fault his performance. I thought he looked good, but Pulev to me that's one of Anthony Joshua's easiest fights, man. There was no competition. If people are going to be honest, what did Pulev do, really, apart from get up, which you have to give credit, but he didn't. Technically, what did he offer? I mean, he hardly. I mean, I don't even remember him even catching Anthony Joshua with a clean punch. Like he was just trying to punch him when they got into a clinch. So he was trying to punch Anthony Joshua almost like when he was in a safe space. And I don't give credit for that. Sorry.
No. The guy. He's good. He's had a good resume. He undefeated. He only lost to Vladimir Klitschko. I like the way AJ bounced him around like a basketball, a Spalding basketball. It was funny.
And they should have stopped that fight earlier when he turned his back. That should have been stopped immediately.
You think so? I'm glad they didn't stop him because I wanted the punishment to go on, mate. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. For us spectating, if it got stopped at that moment, it wouldn't have been as good a fight. But if you're going to be honest with the rules of boxing, if you turn away from your opponent, you're supposed to be out of there.
Yeah.
You know how to turn your back on your opponent in a corner and expect the ref to just give you time to continue. He's lucky he wasn't fighting one of the guys from the 70s, 80s. They would have run after him, hitting the back of his head.
Well, Anthony Joshua was still hitting him while he was turning his back. It was only Anthony. Yeah. So he said, well, after the fight, he was saying, "You kill me, you beat me, you kill me." And he just like, "What? I can't get no love." And then he goes to talk to on the mic, and And all they're saying to him is when you fight in Fury, he's like, oh, what? I can't get no love for my performance. This guy only lost once, the Vladimir Klitschko.
Should have given him credit. Should have given him credit because he performed well. Because I think he'd been out for a year as well.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about credit. Do you feel like the media these days give Anthony Joshua that credit just due? You're in the public eye. You've got Dillian Whyte. This is your second go around. How do you think the media is on Anthony Joshua? Do you think they're fair? What's your take?
What's there to be negative about? He's a 2-time world champion. I don't understand. I don't understand why people are just negative. I don't get it. He seems to have evolved and sort of changed the way he approaches his business because he's maturing. I mean, you could see, he got into a few exchanges in some of his fights and sometimes he comes second best. It's like with the Andrew Ruiz fight, in the rematch, I was out inside, I watched it live at the stadium, and he kept him long the whole time. And then when he got close, he held him. That means he's evolved. I don't understand what there is to be negative, but I don't get it. Like, he's just like, why do people always complain? Just complain. I don't understand.
Yeah. All right. So they give Anthony Joshua a little criticism. So let's move on to the last thing, and then after that, we're probably going to wrap up and then try and introduce Don Charles at some point. Callum Smith versus Canelo Alvarez. I'll be honest with you, when I watched that fight, and me and Lady Sham and I was very disappointed. I picked actually Smith to fight actually to try and give an effort, and that's not what I saw. I saw they had one game plan, which I knew they were going to do. I thought they might have another game plan, which they didn't. And at some point, he was conceded. I see a lot of the times touching the gloves, after each round, a sign of in boxing that usually happens in sparring a lot of the time. If you're, no emphasis on trying to win the fight. And, Gallagher's a top trainer. I heard he was trainer of the year. And, when they had him trainer of the year in the Ring magazine, I don't even know if they even getting criticism like that. When you have AJ who actually wins and knocks the guy out, and there's criticism coming on him, but then Gallagher and Smith, they're gone back, oh, poor Callum. What's your take on that whole thing? Go on.
The fight went pretty much as I expected because, as we were saying before in a live chat with Shan and Tunde was on there, I was saying that Callum, to me, his best win was against George Groves, but then George Groves immediately retired. So, Canelo has beaten how many world champions? His resume is deep. So to me, if you talk about resumes, it's kind of like a mismatch. And I said the only way Callum can be successful in that fight is if he can box and get Canelo to go on the back foot. Because a lot of casual fans, as soon as they see a very tall boxer, they immediately think, well, he's got to be skating around the ring and kick someone long. No, you can control range being tall. You see, the reason why Hearns was so successful against a lot of guys is because he used to back them up, because he used to intimidate them with that right hand, and his jab was like a laser. So he wasn't always going on the back. Sometimes on the back foot, sometimes on the front foot. But you can control range on the front foot being a tall boxer, because all you've got to do is attack and then skip out of range and then go back on the front foot again. But a lot of these guys that are tall, they go back, go back, go back, go back. You can't do that against Canelo because you're inviting him in. So once he gets in, you've got the longer arms. He's got short arms, so he's going to be more successful up close. So you've got to dictate that range and try and get him to go back. I didn't see him trying to do that. And that was what I was saying in the prediction was, if he can't do that, then I don't see how he gets any success, because he's not the kind of guy to me like a Lara who's really, really good at skating around the ring and picking off shots and turning and pivoting. I don't see him as that kind of boxer. He's more methodical. I didn't really see him as that type of boxer. So, I didn't really expect that much, to be honest with you. I thought it went pretty. The only thing that surprised me was that he actually got through the 12 rounds. I thought that he was going to get stopped late. That was the only difference. Was I thought maybe between rounds 9, 10, 11, I thought he might go, but he proved to be durable.
Yeah, 100%. Coach K.
Or Canelo is obviously fighting out of his natural weight, and maybe he don't carry the same pop up there, because these guys are massive in comparison to Canelo.
Yeah. So that's what I saw. His power is good, but it's not the same. And I think with a more person who's more confident, like a Benavidez or Caleb Plant, they're talking about Billy Joe Saunders.
But you see, all these names that you've mentioned, it's all good. But someone sent me a post earlier, and I said my response to them was, because they were saying, yeah, I'd like to see Canelo with this guy, that guy, and that guy. But I said, these guys you're mentioning, who have they boxed? I said, why aren't these guys boxing each other so we can see how good they are before they get Canelo fight? Like, you're talking about the Charlos. Listen, the Charlos been around for a long time. I've got VHS tapes with the Charlos. They've been boxing a long time. I'd like to see them box maybe like a Andrade, or go up in weight and fight, one of them guys you're talking about, like BF, what his name is. Maybe I like to see those matches made, and then the winner of one of those kind of big fights gets a Canelo fight. Canelo is doing what you call all the heavy lifting. His resume is deep. He's fighting good guys. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why the other matches can't be made. Like, Billy Joe Saunders would be a good fight with Demetrius. Like, Billy Joe Saunders would be a good fight against Charlo. Why don't we see those fights first and then talk about Canelo? Canelo's fought enough big names where you don't have to have this conversation for a while. Even Triple G, why isn't Triple G fighting the kind of caliber of fighters that Canelo's boxing? He doesn't fight. Why do you fight the Charlos, fight Saunders, those kind of guys? Like, Canelo shouldn't be getting no criticism really for what he's doing. I honestly don't understand it.
Well, I had to give him props yesterday. He to me, he asserted himself as pound for pound 4-weight champion. The way he did it, that's how pound for pound supposed to do. Make A-class opponents look like C-class opponents, and he did that yesterday.
Separation. Yep.
Yeah, that's what Terence Crawford's been doing. So I know that he's warranted by his resume and the way he performed in that fight. I put him number one pound for pound. I'll give him that. I'll give him that for now. But to me, it's a change in revolving chair. Depending on who they fight. If Crawford fights Errol Spence and Crawford wins that, then I'll give it to Crawford, and then we keep going around. That's between them.
Yeah, I mean, even with Canelo, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who he boxes. Someone's always going to have somebody else waiting in line. Well, he beat him, but he didn't beat that guy. It's like Floyd. When Floyd beat good fighters, it's like, yeah, he beat him. That was good, but he can't beat that fighter. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on. That's what I would like to see. And these other fighters are great. Billy Joe Saunders is a very, very good boxer. Demetrius Andrade, a very good boxer. Charlos, good box fighter. All these guys, they could fight, and then get the prize at the end, which would be Canelo.
100%. Well, listen, we've asked him a lot of questions, and we've wrapped it up in terms of what I want to come again. So 21, what's your ideal 21? Without this tier 3, tier 4, we're in tier 4 in London. Ideal 2021.
Okay.
You and Dillian, and you and the rest of the fighters.
I'd like Dillian to get his revenge. I want that win against Povetkin. That's number one. Obviously later down the year, fight another top guy. If he gets a world title shot, then great, because that's what he's always wanted. I like Kay Prosper to get a British title shot. I mean, he won the English title. He defended it in March this year. He should really get a straight shot now at the British title. He's done everything that's been asked of him, because he had to defend the title against a very awkward opponent in Bilal Raymond. He beat him on a home show. So he deserves a British title shot. I'd like to see him on TV get some light. Dennis Wahome, he should be fighting Liam Dillon. That's going to be, hopefully that'll probably be around April. And for Dennis to win that English title, which would be a major achievement for him. I've had Dennis for a long time. Yusuf Kamari, he's now signed with Dillian, so I'd like to see him on TV. Hopefully he'll be on the undercard of Dillian's fight, so everyone will get to see exactly how good this kid is. I've had him for a long time as well. The other guys they're not in line for titles yet, so there's no point me really speaking on them. I just like them to continue developing. They're like 95% of them are still unbeaten. They're doing the right things, but ultimately, once you've had your time on a small show, I like to get on a TV platform, and obviously these guys start making some money, because boxing, your career's not that long.
Yeah, money is everything. Adrian Redman and Plumity, I'm sure they're coming through. Nick Prempeh, helping out, obviously holding it down in IQ.
Yeah.
Boxing academy.
We've got more. We've got obviously Nick's the other head coach. We've got Drew there. We've got Coach G. You know, we've got quite a few coaches in our gym. You know, and I've got some new fighters coming through. Actually, you mentioned Plamedy. He's just going to get his interview with the British Boxing Board. You know, he won a national title in the amateurs. He's a very good fighter. And I've got a female fighter as well called Sadem, which you'll know about for the amateurs. You know, she's going to turn pro with me as well. Hopefully in the near future. I think she wants to maybe do another year in the amateurs, but we'll see. But she's really good. You know, good
is that the tall girl?
Yeah.
The one who came in, she fainted, and I gave her water, and yeah, I remember her. Yeah, she's come a long way. 100%, man. She's pretty good, man. She's pretty good.
Yeah, she's won box cups, won developments and stuff like that. So she's a very, very good boxer. I think you're actually talking about somebody else, but yeah.
So me, are you talking about the one from Repton?
Yeah, that's
Oh, her, yeah, man. She's heavy, bro. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I was there when she was doing some damage against Finchley, boy. That was a good one. That was in the I think that was developments. She won the development champions, right?
Yeah, she can fight. So maybe should have done. Obviously, because the year's been so difficult for everybody, especially all the amateur fighters. You know, there haven't been any shows, so it's been frustrating. Only thing I would say to them is be patient, because you don't want to turn pro too early. It's a hard game, you know. Learn your craft. But yeah, if she maybe she might want to do another 6 months or a year. But yeah, she's a good fighter. But got good guys coming through. Obviously, Adrian Redmond, Yasser Arguina. You know, very flashy. You know, very, very good prospect. You know, he's 5-0. He'll be coming out soon as well. So yeah, I've got good guys all round. You know, I've got my own heavy another heavyweight as well, who's needs to have a few more amateur fights. Bremer. But yeah, you know, the gym's going from strength to strength, and just very happy where we are right now.
Well, listen, for the guys who just coming, like Xavier has already said that the press conference for Dillian Whyte, the announcement, should I say, should be coming in this week, who his opponent's going to be. For me personally, I'd love the Ortiz fight. If that happens, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? It's a great fight. If it's the Povetkin fight, we're good. Either way, you're in a great position. All for the rest of your up-and-coming fighters, wish them the very best. We're going to keep these conversations going in terms of, like, with Xavier Miller as he goes through in his journey. Thanks for all you guys questioning that. So what we're going to do right now, Xavier, we're going to take a little break. I'm going to give Don a call. You can stick around, and we're going to come back. So I'll take a little break, and you guys come back in a bit. All right, so I'll see you guys in a bit.
Okay. I think it's still live on.
Don't waste your breath on a traitor. Let's finish him off.
Just you have a try. You aren't any match for me, you dog.
Son of a bitch.
Looks like my man Don Charles is not coming. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Man, Xavier has left the building. You know what I'm saying? Well, that was a good conversation we had anyway. No more of a comments. So that's it, man. That's it. No, I gave you my interview with Xavier like I promised. Don Charles, it happens sometimes. If he comes back on, I might come back live. But for now, that's what it is, man. I enjoyed that conversation with so I don't really come on camera that much, but you know, thought I might as well for my man Xavier. So hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Thumbs up, as it says right here. I'll probably change the title just to Xavier Exclusive Midnight. And that is it, man. Shout out to everyone who's come over and contributed. And that's it, man. I'll catch you guys later. Deuces. Actually, I should leave you with my man. Should I leave you with my man, Annie Joshua? At the dinner table? Man. Yeah. Man, leave you with my man, Annie Joshua. Peace. EJ Boxing Live here with Anthony Joshua, AJ. Anthony, man, how you feeling, man?
Fine, thank you very much. Fine.
Yeah?
I feel like my stomach got some good food, probably some fish. Chill out with the boys.
Yeah, I see everyone's here on the table now.
I definitely ain't covering that bill, boy.
You know what? Yeah, last time I was at a table, I was at Derek Jesor's ready for Fury, and I was sitting at the table. The bill came up to like 500, and it looked a bit more expensive. But anyway, what you doing? What you gonna?
I'm probably gonna get some sea bass and rice.
Sea bass? What's that?
Fish, just some good fish.
Yeah.
Clean, yeah, a bit of grilled.
Oh, that
fish.
sounds nice, isn't it?
Yeah, just like clean. You know?
Yeah. All right, man. So how you feel about your big day? This is to me, like, I don't know how you feel. This is one of a big opponent. I mean, undefeated like yourself, big guy as well.
Yeah, I wish him the best, man. What will be, will be. It's a fight. We're here. You know, there's no turning back. You know, like, everyone's got a big opponent. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.